What's going on, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. Time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. Let's get into the books I read this week. So starting with Deadpool, Wolverine, World War III issue number 1. We have Joe Kelly on here, Adam Kubert, and Frank Martin on the art and lettering. This was a great book. If you're wondering what the relationship is between Wolverine and Deadpool, if you don't know that by now and you saw the trailer and you're excited for the movie, this is a cool book to jump into maybe and check that out. So if you're a casual, you're walking into a comic book shop, you see this new number 1, grab it, man, and just check it out. It does do a good job of introducing you to the Wolverine character, at least in the very beginning, and then of course we have our interaction with Deadpool. I will say the art in here is absolutely spectacular. It is so good. I almost don't want to show you some of the stuff in here because it's ultra gory, but we do start off following Wolverine. He runs into Deadpool, and Deadpool's fighting this one mysterious foe right now who's got some like energy powers or something like that, and of course they have to team up to take him on. But after all that is said and done, they kind of split ways, and then Wolverine goes on his mission that he's going on right now, finding out that Deadpool has been kind of like kidnapped and possessed to then fight Wolverine basically to the death. So it's a really interesting book. I think it was better than I was expecting. The writing was fine, the art was absolutely killer, and I'm really glad that they're putting out some X-Men or some Wolverine Deadpool books when the trailer came out, and there's a lot of hype about the movie. So good timing. And I think we're going to get a couple more issues before the movie actually comes out, maybe 1 or something like that. But yeah, good timing, Marvel, for once. What'd you guys think if you read it? Next is Garth Ennis on Get Fury issue number 1. It's a Garth Ennis book. It features Fury, at least on the cover, and Frank Castle Punisher as well. So you know it's going to be taking place in Vietnam. That's exactly what we get inside of here. From an artistic standpoint, we have Burroughs on the art, which is fine. It actually, does what it needs to do in here. There are some moments of gore, and it's really extreme. And so I think he handles that really well. But basically this book portrays both of the characters, Fury and Frank Castle, as like the best of the best, right? And they're behind enemy lines right now, and they're getting captured, and there's lots of dialogue and strategy talks about like what to do in these certain situations. And then there's like a response from the US government on, if our top guys get captured, they cannot be interrogated, they can't be tortured, they're gonna let go of too many secrets. So like, what are our options right here? And that's what this book basically focuses on. Again, a lot of cool, shocking, brutal moments in this book as well. Art was a little bit weak, but it did the job. Story is Garth Ennis, so it's going to be action-packed and insane, and it's going to be in Vietnam. So it was actually really good. I had a lot of fun with this one. Definitely better than I thought it was going to be. Get Fury issue number 1. What'd you guys think? Going over to Jed MacKay and Pepe Larraz, we have Blood Hunt issue number 1 of 5. So we had Blade issue 10 wrap up the Blade series recently. Kind of a letdown right there, to be honest with you. It felt like the first few issues had a lot of hype behind them. A lot of us were excited for the next Blade issue, but it kind of dragged on a little bit, and then the ending just didn't hit, right? And so now we get Blood Hunt a week later. So what is Blood Hunt about? Basically, we've been leading up to this for quite some time. I am honestly surprised that on the back of some of these books, we don't see the advertisements for Blood Hunt, but you've seen them if you bought a Marvel book in the last month. It's going to be basically as a vampire takeover of the entire world. Who will be involved on the hero side? Everybody. Think the most recent Avenger run right now, and that's exactly the kind of pacing and snapshots we're going to see inside of this issue. We have all these dark users that have been possessed, and they're summoning portals right now, basically blocking out the sun. Maybe is a better way to put it. And we have this huge army of vampires coming through, and we get these vertical panels and these really quick snapshots of what all the heroes are dealing with at the moment. And some of them get taken out pretty quickly. So it's interesting to see that perspective. What I will say though is if you're used to Jed MacKay's writing, then you're used to the fact that he's probably going to be introducing a new team of villains that we may or may not know. I don't know. I don't recognize them right here. They're probably going to kick all the Avengers' ass really quickly, all the heroes pretty quickly. There's going to be some shocks, some twists and turns, things like that. Things that we're going to resolve eventually. But this pacing, this cadence, this approach to storytelling reminds me exactly like his Avengers run. So if you're digging that style, I think you're really going to enjoy this one. If you just like heroes up against the wall very quickly and abruptly, without much explanation as to how or why, then I think you're going to dig this one. Other than that, Pepe Larraz is on the art, and that's like the main selling point, I would say, right here. So I won't spoil the ending of issue number 1. I would say pick up the 5-issue run just to kind of get the idea of what's going on, but don't go crazy with all the tie-ins, unless you hear one of them is extremely vital to the main story, which I doubt they're going to do. 5 issues, not a huge commitment, especially now that Blade's over. It can kind of take the place of that if you were digging that. I don't know. Blood Hunt, what'd you guys think? Next, we have David Pepose on Space Ghost number 1 from Dynamite. Man, I remember watching Space Ghost Coast to Coast all the time when I was younger, and it's the 30th anniversary, and they've been rerunning it over on YouTube as well. I think on their, I don't know, Cartoon Network channel or something like that, so make sure to check that out. So many laughs inside that show. But I was excited for a new Space Ghost book. So first off, the cover is absolutely gorgeous on this thing. I'm loving that one. So that one really got me hyped. This is obviously like your more classic Space Ghost. So don't come from Space Ghost Coast to Coast thinking it's gonna be a comedy or something like that. This was a legit superhero patrolling the space, kind of like a Green Lantern kind of a character, and, you know, rescuing people, you know, doing the right thing. He's definitely got an attitude like a Batman kind of a persona, but he's doing the right thing at the end of the day. And, you know, this book really showcases all of that. There's a lot of familiar faces in here too. We got Bracken here, which was awesome. So we see a little bit of them inside this book. We basically have this ship that's under attack right now. It's got this real advanced like AI life form or whatever it might be, and they're trying to protect it, and it's you know, it shouldn't go into the wrong hands, right? And so the lone survivors of this attack are trying to escape, and Space Ghost comes to save the day. Really cool art in here too. The only thing I'm worried about right now is like substance. Like, it has a lot of flash and it has a lot of nostalgia, but like, give me some substance too. I want some more interaction with Space Ghost, a lot more dialogue from him, a lot more feeling or attitude. And if we get that, I think it's gonna be a pretty cool run. So check out Space Ghost #1, Dynamite Comics, great #1. What'd you guys think? Next image book was Bear Pirate Viking Queen from Sean Lewis, and we actually have Jonathan Marks on here as well. I just got it because it was a dope cover, and anything Sean Lewis is doing in collaboration with anybody, I'm going to be checking out, and I'm glad I did, because the art in here is very like watercolory, definitely a pirate book. We have this guy that was part of like, I don't know, the Royal Army at some point, and he had a change of heart, became a pirate, and he's going through some kind of like internal metamorphosis, right? He has this bear inside of him, this monster inside of him that keeps pushing him in certain directions. He's leading this pirate crew right now. He's like tempting fate too, like sailing right into the storm, which is really cool. Just absolutely beautiful, beautiful book. The book is layered in metaphor and analogy about, you know, like the different parts of the human psyche and things like that. And of course, there's this other more real, visceral threat with like, you know, the Royal Army coming back, or the Royal Navy coming back at him, and then like a literal barbarian kind of beast, or a druid kind of a beast towards the end that they have to battle as well. So very intriguing book for sure. But like, you know, first and foremost, it's one of the most beautiful books that I've read, certainly in the most recent time. So really, really great on the artistic part. Story was holding up pretty well. So, you know, I am excited to see where this goes in general. But $5.99 price point, extra large book, great art and everything. I think it's well worth it. Did you guys read it? What'd you think? The next book from Image Comics from Chip Zdarsky, we have The White Trees, The Black Sand Tale, issue #1. I think this is a one-shot. And in the very top corner here, I noticed it says The White Trees Complete Edition Image Comics, collecting the acclaimed fantasy series for the first time. So this is the first time I've heard of this series, so it seems like this was in some kind of a other format previously, and they collected it just for this one. So, you know, let me know if you read it in the other format that it was in, and what like the overall thoughts were back when this first came out. But I have no idea when this originally came out, but here we are with this collected format right here. And, you know, it's kind of like an old grizzled hero's journey kind of a book. We have these warriors that got together, kind of like a Fellowship of the Ring type of thing, that have slayed these armies in the past. Many years have gone by, they've raised families since then, dynamics have changed, their roles in society have changed, but now they're kind of like called to arms once again. And one of the main characters in here, specifically, he's kind of like outgrown that, you know, he doesn't really want to get engaged. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of like listening to Mike Tyson a few years ago talk about like letting the demon out, letting that beast out, and he was kind of scared of it. And they touch on that inside of here as well. Like, I've grown past this, and if I tap back into that, when I pull the pin on that grenade and I throw it, like all hell's breaking loose, and I'm taking everybody down with me. Kind of that thing right there. But they're on this revenge mission because they think the enemy has stolen all their kids, and so they're going out into the wild trying to track stuff down. There's a big plot twist towards the end that maybe that's not necessarily the case, and it was all kind of like a setup. Things like that, and then we get to see like the beast let loose with this character that we're focusing on in here. But overall, it's a pretty short book, to be honest with you. Even for like a collected edition, it's probably maybe two, maybe 3 issues combined. Not entirely sure, but it was okay. What'd you guys think about it? If you read it, down below. All right, let's go over to Vault Comics with Barbaric Born in Blood issue #1. I've loved everything Barbaric from the beginning. Some of the ancillary stuff I've been dipping in and out of, but like the main run stuff, absolutely love it. So definitely check out Barbaric if you haven't yet. So we're following our usual suspects right here. We have Owen with his axe. We have Sorn, like the lady that can manifest daggers from her tattoos. And we have Steel, which was like another barbarian friend who turned into like this monster vampire kind of a guy. And they're doing just some, you know, normal side quest kinds of things. going around helping this one guy like retrieve a family heirloom that's guarded by some weird dragon. And of course, they find themselves in a land that was previously protected by barbarians of their tribe, but the whole place has gone to hell right now. And they're trying to figure out exactly why. And they're going to this, big mountain where the enemy is. And there's lots of jokes and humor about all that. The enemy's never at the bottom of the mountain. They're always at the freaking top of the mountain, right? And so, while they're on their journeys, they get ambushed by all these different sets of demons and magic and stuff like that. And it's just so hilarious to watch these guys go to battle. It kind of reminds me of obviously like Conan the Barbarian, but with this huge like layer of comedy on top of it. So like if you're into that kind of a vibe, I think you're really going to dig this one. And really what it boils down to at the end of the day is a lot of past demons are coming back to take out our trio right here, right? Like every one of them has demons that they're running from, and this new magic, evil or whatever has resurrected them somehow. And so we're going to have to face that here in the coming future. So really, really cool book, really well drawn. Marisi and Golden have been doing a great job for a very long time on this. Barbaric, check it out. All right, the next one from Distillery, The Blood Brothers Mother, issue number 1 from Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Rizzo. Now, I've been paying attention to the Distillery books for a while, but then after like 4 came out and they weren't that great, I kind of fell off, so I didn't order this one, but plenty were on the shelf, so went ahead and checked this one out. So basically, this one right here follows this American who was locked up in this Mexican prison for however long. His old buddies got together, did some jobs to bail him out, essentially, and now they're kind of going back to their old routine of setting up, like the plan for the next big heist or whatever, right? We're going to be robbing banks. We're going to be doing something. This guy that was imprisoned is real focused on the wife that he used to have. And so, like the front half of this book is him escaping prison and like reacquainting himself with the people that he thought were his friends or like the new people in his gang or whatever, and like taking care of some of the bad seeds. But then like, like the second part of this is realizing the woman that he, I don't know, his old girlfriend or something like that has kind of moved on, got remarried to some reverend, had a couple kids, things like that. And it's him coming back to like, I don't know, like reclaim his property in his girlfriend, which is kind of odd. And he goes pretty far. Like this whole gang of people take things really, really far when they want to, get her back into the fold. And, it was kind of just felt kind of weird reading it, to be honest with you. I was like on this guy's side throughout the first half of the book. And then towards the end, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I like where this is going necessarily. The art is okay. It's got kind of like this watercolor effect to it, but like there's not a whole lot of lines. It does have a couple cool spots and some interesting perspectives and good coloring and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, I wish there was a little bit more there from the art side of it. And the overall story has me a little bit confused about, like, are we supposed to like this guy? I don't think so. And then the book title itself, The Blood Brothers Mother, seems like it's going to be focusing on the kids that this woman had with this other guy. And, as evidenced also by like the cover of the next issue right here. So I think this is going to turn into a book where we're going to be following the kids and like their revenge mission to go get this guy that stole their mom and basically killed their dad. So, that might be interesting. So it might be, checking out issue number 2, seeing what it's all about. Did you guys read it? Let me know what you thought. All right. So every once in a while you get a book that's just clearly the best book of the week of the books that you read. And here we are with that one right here. Titan Comics, Savage Sword of Conan, issue number 2. Guys, okay, so we have Zub on here still, but we have Richard Pace on the art. And holy crap, from the very beginning of this book, you are blessed with just this amazing like ballpoint pen, just like ink on page. It is absolutely incredible what he's able to do inside of this book. And it was just a pure joy to see every single page. And of course, like in classic Conan fashion, this is just like a one-off story. This is just something that happens in a matter of a month or two among all the other things that is going on, right? Like he's following this convoy right now and he splits apart from them to, I don't know, like repay some debts that he had in the past, but then he quickly gets ambushed by like this undead army, finds himself defeated by that army and kind of like resurrected. He crawls himself out of the grave, right? And tries to heal himself. He understands maybe the magic around this undead army. It's not the same army that we're seeing over in Conan the Barbarian right now. It's a whole different one that's actually cultivated by this tribe next door, these actual people that are using some dark magic from some beast in a cave. And he's learning a little bit about like what that means. And he's using the help from this one child from the city to heal himself and to understand what he's up against. And he's, becoming friends with this little child, kind of giving him some hope that he's going to rescue him from this from this like brainwashing that this culture has done to him at this moment. And it's just like such a beautifully drawn book, and it's just really cool to see Conan go completely ham on like these undead armies, even like a role model to this young kid. Like, dude, I'm gonna get you out of the situation you're in because it's completely messed up. You're gonna come with me. I'm gonna teach you how to fight. We're gonna be going around on raids. We're gonna be rich, and we're gonna have all the women and stuff like that. Like, it's just like a funny promise for a child, but it's really cool to see what happens in this book. There are some shocking moments, a lot of heartbreak in here too, crazy action, and it's like every single page is just beautiful. Absolutely love it. Savage Sword of Conan. What a blessing this book has been, honestly, in a week like this. So if you haven't been checking this one out, definitely read it. Let me know if you did down below. All right, guys, so that's everything I read this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know down below in the comments what you read and what your favorite books of the week were. While you're down there, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted whenever I put out new videos. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the comments.